Okay. Okay, so today is the 4th of August, and I am just trying to do a quick video log on if I can pull this thing up, and of course my computer has so many windows on it. Okay, so Meredith Mapes, who is not someone who I know, and but she's on the Twitter, and she's sled dog team entire setup. Someone's selling a sled dog team for $1,500. Up in the off the villages, Tanana, it says must sacrifice the whole dog team. Touring sled, double training sled, resident sled, tow lines, harnesses, dog chains, dog house, 17 dogs, $1,500, and they're selling a truck, a Dodge 98 Dodge with a dog box for 5,000, and they list the number. And but Meredith is online, and I'm sure she's a good person. She's young, but and it reminds me of you when I was younger too in the dog thing. But she's a vet tech or something. But she's her puppies are in a different kennel, being raised by a different kennel, and her dogs are up on the glacier, right? And someone probably needs to help this person with their dogs, or someone needs to pick up this team. But Meredith is reframing it online and begins to beg, and she was already begging for money for her own team and for her iditarod efforts. So she's almost using this as a tool or an avenue towards reaching people and saying, oh, she's helping these dogs, so they need to donate to her. And she's going to try to get a bunch of donations for her own iditarod effort. And then she's talking about basically going through this group of dogs and only picking out the few that she likes, while she gets rid of the other ones to the August Fund or something else and spays and neuters them all, which I think is really beside what that advertisement is about. That advertisement was about this great starter bush team with the equipment, these village dogs, and all of the good, all of the good there, and some great bloodlines, some, a nice little trap line team, or a nice recreational team, or a team for someone to take out, run the Quest 300 with. It reminds me of years ago up in Fairbanks, Jesse Holmes. I helped him with a couple dogs that I had, and just gave them to him, and he had them for a while. I think he kept some of them, and some of them he rehomed to someone else or something like that. But he was able to use them, and they were able to help him get a start in the sport of dog mushing. And really that's how a lot of people get started in dog mushing. They might help someone else a little bit. They might get some dogs that are sort of, that aren't working in the bigger program or that are free or whatever, but it gives them a chance to go out there and go down the trail. You know what I mean? And to go out and, see a moose on the trail, go out, go camping, build a fire, and you know what I mean? Go haul some wood. Those are the baby steps towards a involvement in this great historic pageantry and cultural, thing that is the Iditarod, and that is the Yukon Quest, but is beyond those big things that people see in the media, but is sport dog mushing, racing, just training dogs, just traveling with the dogs, right? So that's why I think it's just this travesty, this tragic thing that this girl Meredith online is trying to take this team where she can't even get her own shit together, and she's online, she's complaining about not having the money for a house and everything else, and she's using this as a fundraising tool. And but to me, the problem is these dogs deserve better than that. You know what I mean? These dogs deserve someone who's going to pick them up and who's going to keep the group of dogs intact, in terms of a big group of dogs, 15, 16 dogs or whatever, and have a team, and not just split them all up like a family, picking up a family and splitting the whole family up. Like, that's not the right way to do things, you know what I mean? And it's not an ethical or responsible way to do things. And I think it's okay to say that and to say, whoa, why is Meredith even butting in here? Why is she reframing it as a rescue? She doesn't have the capacity and she doesn't have the resources to do it, then she should not be fundraising online to do it. That's not fair to those animals. That's not fair to Iditarod and to the sport and to Alaska. And I think it's an embarrassing thing for the race to create scenarios in the sport that happen like this, where Meredith is very publicly online doing this fundraising, and 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 how she's doing it sort of a disingenuous way, where she's also linking it towards her personal Patreon or something, and it's not really sure if you donate to that account or you donate to her Patreon or whatever, Meredith Mapes, Alaskan Sled Dog Girl online and Twitter, is the money going to go towards these dogs and rehoming these dogs and spaying and neutering these dogs, whatever she's trying to say, or is this money just going to go towards her Iditarod efforts? And I think that is the heart and the soul of part of the problem with a lot of these Iditarod kennels when they link to the nonprofit and when they're running a for-profit kennel, right? And some of them don't have much money, like Meredith, but that's part of the problem, though. Maybe she shouldn't be signing up for the race if she doesn't have that much money, and she's here in August begging. You know what I mean, online, and the economics aren't there to support that effort. And then she shouldn't be picking up a random kennel when some of her dogs are in the glacier, and she's got a bunch of puppies at a different kennel getting raced. There's just, under the magnifying glass, there's lots of people that are in similar situations in the sport. So we're not trying to pick on Meredith, but we're trying to point out the flaws, the systemic flaws here, and 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 uh, and try to correct them. But more importantly, why these animals are going to get thrown under the bus here with Meredith's fundraising efforts for her race, and whereas someone out there could pick up this great bush starter team and keep the dogs intact, keep the dogs as a group, mostly, and have this great way to begin becoming part of this sport and this lifestyle. Someone up there in Alaska would really benefit, I think, from picking up these dogs and the sleds and stuff. And they could take the dogs, they could work in the winter, they could run them, have a trap line team or something. They could maybe in the summer get a job on a glacier. They've got the perfect amount of dogs for that. This is a great avenue and a baby step for someone getting involved in the sport. Instead of letting that happen, instead of enabling that happen, maybe Meredith should help these people, get advertising on Sled Dogs Central or Facebook group Musher's Checkpoint to better advertise that team. Instead, she's going to try to snap it up, and it's almost like someone with a pathological problem or something like that, and then she's doing it. And the team was for sale, right? It's not a free team. It's not a rescue. It's for sale. Rescue. And then she's saying it's going to cost all this money for her to drive up there. It's going to cost all this money to spay and neuter the dog. She's working with the August Fund. That's not what that's not what she should, and then she shouldn't be. Why is this person begging? And then she's linking it to our iditarod efforts. This girl's just simply trying to get money and handouts and begging, and it's not clear whether you're giving that money. She's not a rescue. She's not running a rescue program. It's not a nonprofit thing. And the dogs aren't a rescue either. You know what I mean? It's a team for sale. So on mushing Twitter, and all that stuff online, there are some accountability issues going on with Meredith Mapes, but also with, I think, anytime any sort of a donor sends money to anything related to any sort of a dog musher, whether it's a race or something else, I think you have to look hard at it. When you give that money, you have to you realize that you want to do your own research and your own homework and make sure when you give that money, you donate that money, that it's actually being used towards what it's being advertised to be used for, number one. But then number two, does that even need to happen? You know what I mean? Does that even need to happen? In the case of Meredith, she's saying she's going to be, those dogs shouldn't all be spayed and neutered and split up like that. That's not a fair thing to do to a group of dogs. It's like a group of Mexican immigrants coming through the border, and getting the children split up from the family. Everyone's split up. They don't know each other. That's not a responsible and ethical and fair way to do things. And I think we can see it there with that dog team. This is someone who might have a good intention, but I think it's a selfish and it's an egotistical intention with Meredith, and related to her own desire to just begin to hoard these dogs and to begin to use this as a fundraising tool for her own in a way to try to make herself look good, like she's doing this great rescue. Where the truth is, she really isn't. It reminds me of my issues back in Montana. People want to be like, "Oh, we're doing a rescue." You're not doing rescue. You're just trying to steal from someone and get in the paper and try to put someone else down. And it's not a rescue if you're spending money to get the dogs. And if she's fundraising to get the money to get the dog, that's not a rescue. So it's important to note that this person her presentation about is so flawed and unethical that definitely don't want to send her any money.